Welcome to the Maple Syrup Association Appreciation Podcast.
Association Appreciation.
Association. I've got bars.
So we're appreciating the Maple Syrup Association.
We are, yeah.
God.
Yeah, literally.
What a day.
So you're not correct. You've given up correcting me now.
Yeah, I've given up, mate. I feel like if I just let you do your thing, we'll end up with a.
You think I'll start with
an amazing idea? No, of course. Welcome to Scratch Cafe, talking turntablism. I think Ollie's always trying to drop a hint, but do you know what? I'm going to jump in.
Are you going to do this one?
I'm going to jump in with this one because this particular DJ is like super close to my heart. Like I've watched so many of these over the years, and I think he's one of the most kind of creative, interesting DJs. He's also one of the most accomplished. In fact, I think he is
arguably the baddest man on the planet.
Yeah,
on a set of turntables.
I mean, I think he's got 7 world titles. I think he's the only DJ who has won in all of the different styles of DMC as well, like beat juggling, like the classic, etc. He's an absolute bad man. So I want to bring to the stage the one and only DJ Vekked.
Oh, here he is, Vekked.
What's going on, the president of the Maple Syrup Association.
Are you the president of the association that appreciates the association? Or
both.
Well, good, yeah. So we got the main man in every facet of this podcast.
Absolutely, yeah. Turntables and maple syrup. Fabulous.
That's right.
So basically, this, in my opinion, so you are the first turntablist from across the pond. You are our most accomplished turntablist, 7-time world champion. So it really is like, we're kicking off season 2 in real style. And like we're both from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time.
Thank you for having me for the season premiere.
And I'm very, very looking forward to experiencing the world of hip hop and turntablism through the eyes of a Canadian, because we've done England, right? Yeah. And we want to get to America. And I think it's actually quite fitting as a little sort of jump into the American guys, because like the UK, Canada isn't America. Hip hop started in America. So essentially, we are reusing a second-hand culture that we borrowed from the United States. So I think it's going to be a really wonderful parallel from the UK scene to the Canadian scene. So, I mean, I suppose my first question is going to be the little Vekked wandering around. How did you come across turntablism and hip hop?
Okay, so, man, I had a very sort of weird come up into hip hop and stuff, because I grew up in like the country, like the boonies, not close to any cities at all, in a little village of like under 1,000 people, and like everyone where I grew up listened to like country music or maybe like classic rock or something. But then I had a friend who had family in the UK, and through him we sort of started getting into like not hip hop right away, but like more alternative music. Like at first for me it was like big beat music and like Prodigy and the Chemical Brothers and Fatboy Slim and Moby. And then like when I was around 12 years old, like we started making beats in this thing called hip hop EJ. You guys remember that?
I know EJ. I think I know EJ. Wasn't it on the PlayStation?
There was one on the PlayStation, and ours was just like the PC version, but there's a hip hop one you could scratch with the mouse and everything. But even then, like I feel like because I had no concept of hip hop, I had no introduction directly. I still took me like a few years until when I went to high school. Is a little bit bigger town, and I met some friends who were like breakdancing and stuff. And I did like the classic thing. I like tried all the elements. I sucked at all of them, and I'm like, I guess I'm a DJ then. And then and my biggest like turning point was there's sort of it's almost like a bit of a like luck. But I basically just search on LimeWire for like DJ or something, and just probably downloaded every video. And the one that I downloaded was Cuber and Mixmaster Mike's showcase from DMC 95, I think, or 90, 95, I believe. And I saw them scratching, and I didn't like. I'd been listening to scratching before that, but I didn't understand. I didn't know
What it
how people
was.
did it. Like
Yeah.
I guess I probably knew like that you could do it on the mouse, but I didn't know like really how it was done. But it's still like I was listening to Ninja Tune and stuff. Like I remember Cold Cut had some cuts, like some scratching, and Kid Koala is Canadian, and he was even on our radio and stuff. So that like is already like in my consciousness. But when I saw that video, I remember like asking my dad, who's not a turntablist, he's like a pipeliner, and I was like, what are those things that they're like moving? And he knows what turntables are, like he has record collection and everything. So he's like, oh, they're turntables. And then within like that week, a local pawn shop, somebody brought in like a Gemini DJ in a box. Like just complete like luck, like I don't know, is some universal sign,
the universe handing you something.
So I bought that DJ in a box with my money I saved up from working on the garlic farm, because that's where I worked when I was a kid, because I was in the actual country.
Do you know what, right? I put garlic in everything, and I absolutely resent the smell on my fingers. You cannot get rid of it. What was it like picking them?
Yeah, it is like that, but like basically like it lasted for most of the year, because like if you pick garlic for 3 months, like it's what you just described, but like extrapolated for like, it's like in your like bloodstream, probably like it's in your DNA at that point. So it takes like 6 more months, and then you're back to picking garlic the next summer.
Garlic chromosome.
So before we go any further quickly, because in England, right, we've got this thing with French people where we associate them with onions and garlic, right? and basically there's a big French quarter in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. So are you producing all of this garlic for the French Quarter, or am I totally off the mark?
I'm not actually sure. I was pretty low on the chain to know where we were supplying. Like,
Pablo Escobar garlic.
Nice.
So you weren't picking to distribution. You were literally like...
No, I was like bottom tier. I was getting like $3 an hour or something. Like it took a long time to get those turntables.
And you stank at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
You couldn't go out. You can only be on turntables.
There's a lot of sacrifices.
Anyway, before I just ruined your flow, I'm so sorry. But the garlic fingers was just too good to miss. Basically.
That's what happened. That's my come up.
I love the story, man.
Started on the garlic farm. Now we're here.
That's it. So you've got the Geminis, right? And you've been inspired by Mixmaster Mike and Cuba.
Yep.
Where do we go from there?
Oh, from there? Okay, so I think something like this comes up a lot when I talk about my come up, but basically because I only really knew about like Cubert and Mixmaster Mike for a bit. I didn't know about DMC. I didn't know about like Turntablism, even like Scratch the movie, like all that stuff came later. So for a bit, I was basically just like, all I knew to look for was Cubert and Mixmaster Mike. And a lot of the videos I was stumbling on were like pre-Vestax 05 even. So there's no hamster switch. So they were plugging to get hamster sound. They'd plug the turntables
way around.
Yeah. And that's how I DJ to this day, because I just copied them and I made up this like story in my head because I had no one to talk to. I had no DJ friends. So I was like, I saw them doing it and I recognized that it was backwards, but I was like, oh, like it's because you can only scratch that way. And if you mix, you do it the other way. Like I thought you mix regular and you scratch hamster. I was just making up stories like, cause as a kid, and I was like, you know, trying to justify stuff. I also thought that Mixmaster Mike had a special button on his crossfader. Like I thought he could like press his like crossfader or his upfader like down and it would go really fast. I didn't realize like he was oozing.
Yeah,
you know, like the Uzi thing. I thought there's like, I thought he just had like a better mixer.
That's so good. So
how do you know what? It's interesting you say this, right? Because like we've talked to a lot of guys who were battling in the like late 80s, 90s, right? And back then it was like you didn't have like the internet.
Yeah.
you just had like a VHS like awful cassette tape thing. And they used to just spend hours just trying to figure out, like almost sometimes not even from a video, just from the sound
into it.
Of like, how do you get that done? You know, and it's interesting to hear like some of the story, because Hugh Wackman, he was I don't know if you know him, he was DJ XL.
Yeah, of course. XL, right?
Yeah, that's right. So he, you know, he was talking about when he'd like heard really fast kind of transforming and stuff going on from the States, and he was like, how the flip are you doing that? You know, like trying out all sorts of different ways of doing stuff. So I guess in some regards, if you didn't have a community around you at that stage, it was a little bit like that for you.
But you know what's really impressive, right? And I think this is going to be a really good launch off, right? Every person we've spoke to and everybody that's done really well, they found a crew, and like our scratch calf, they all joined together and just went fucking bang really quick, because you're all learning together, but you were isolated. For yourself.
For the first bit, yes, but like my progression at the start was really slow. Like I don't know. I always tell people, like, you know, if you think you're not like improving fast enough or something, like you're still probably faster than what I did. Like for me, it took like probably 6 or 7 years to even get beyond like looping records for juggling and stuff. Like it took a really long time, but eventually I started meeting people like on the internet a little bit, like message boards and like even like MSN Messenger stuff, like that kind of thing. Like I remember the first time I went to the Canadian DMCs like to watch, I just they sent out like I was on the mailing list for like the finals, and I saw that they like, you know, I don't even know if it was a thing at the time, but they didn't like BCC all the emails. So I just added all the DJs to MSN Messenger. And I was like, I don't know, a kid in high school. So I like messaged all the Canadian finalists being like, hey man. And then
that's so cool.
And then one of the guys who replied to me and like, and didn't block me and stuff right away was Wondercut, rest in peace. And Wondercut, basically, like I was in high school still, and I was like, he was like the Canadian finalist, and I was like, can I come stay like in your hotel room like for the Canadian finals? I just was like very brazen about it, and he was like, yeah, cool. And then I went up to the Canadian finals, and it's him and DJ Sticky Buds.
Mate, Sticky Buds.
Sticky Buds is more people probably know him more as a producer now.
Yeah,
but he's a DMC Canadian finalist that year.
Really?
And basically, I crashed on the couch in their room, and basically Wondercut went on to win both the Supremacy and the Canadian finals that year. So I was like staying with him for a couple days and seeing like everything firsthand. He even showed me techniques. He was the first one to show me like how to fill like 2 records with juggling, like between the notes kind of thing. So that was like, he's definitely like an inspiration. Then, you know, from then on, I'd ask him questions. He'd like send me stuff. And I met Shub as well and went to Shub's place a couple times. He's like a big inspiration, and like, you know, there's a few guys in the Canadian scene, and like another homie, Droppin' Dave. He's a Canadian finalist. Just like people I met through battling became like somewhat like homies and like mentors of sorts, or as close to I had as mentors, like even though most of us live pretty far away still. And then and through the message boards and stuff, I know I watched a bit of the other podcast with John First, and he told like most of our background, like we sort of like started as just internet friends, essentially, and then got into battling like in our respective countries, and then are just our improvement and our success kind of coincided at the same time. And and we ended up basically like we were sort of like a same as like any DJ crew, like helping each other. But then because we're in different places, we end up like battling each other at a certain point. So yeah. And we got first and second. He got first, I got second in the DMC online 2013.
Nice. Yeah, that was it. And it's funny, really, because I think community is a huge part of it. You may know, Ollie and I run a monthly scratch jam. And we were remarking on this the other day, right?
Yeah,
because it was like,
I was going to talk about this actually, because you beat me to it.
Because it's kind of mental. We were like, we've been doing them for about 18 months now, but like if you wind back maybe 15 months, like 16 months, it's just like 10 of us in like a tiny little pub in the back with like a few turntables just having a scratch. And now we're like, we had 100 people at one the other day.
Yeah, we did.
That's amazing. Yeah,
it's insane.
It's like, it's like, I always think with like throwing events and stuff, like, and turntablism stuff, it's like if you build it, they will come, kind of thing. Like
I've said that from the start, haven't I?
Said that so many times. We have, honestly, it's mad.
Yeah, like I think people, like, obviously it's a niche art form, but I think people, because there isn't always events in their area or something, think it's more niche than it is, or like they think there's less people than there is just because there's no events. Like at this point, I've toured around like all over North America, and there's been so many places I've went where like I do a show and there's like a few dozen turntablists at the show, and most of them don't even know each other because there's no like events in their city. And it can be a big city, like a million people or something, but they just don't have anybody doing stuff to bring them together. So they don't know about each other, or like they might be like neighbors or something like that.
So do you know what I've been thinking about this quite a lot, and we've had a lot of discussions with the guys that come to the Scratch Cup, and Bristol is quite a densely populated city, but we do have people coming from a long way. But what we've realized is people that do this on turntables and people that dedicate this much time to doing something really mental, that neurodivergency comes up a lot. So ADHD and autistic, and basically everybody that's at the Scratch Cafe is ADHD or autistic. We all don't really like going out. We all prefer being home, and we don't really like mixing with people because it's hard when you're a little bit neurospicy to be around normal people as much. And what we found is a lot of these guys, they prefer staying at home. They don't like going out. They started coming to the Scratch Cafe. And then they started meeting like-minded people that have the same weirdness, that have the same struggles, that have got the same sort of like OCDs over things and like hyper-perfectionism. And we've just created this amalgamation of like a load of really beautiful blokes that really struggle in every other facet of life, apart from hitting the turntables and being really awkward around each other. And I think that's largely to do with why people think the turntablist community is quite niche, is because we're not out there. We're literally in our bedrooms on turntables or on chat rooms, basically, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, it is kind of a bit of an antisocial sort of art form and stuff. I think maybe that's because it was like sort of necessary for a little bit. Like I feel like there's a time before, because for me personally, like I kind of remember when scratch jams started becoming a thing, but it wasn't like that for when I started. For a while it was like either there was battles or there was like no events. So like for myself, like through university and stuff, I remember I found like there's a thing called Pal Talk, which was like where we would scratch online with each other, and it was like the worst audio quality. Is like, people complain about like DJing like 128 kilobyte MP3s, but the Pal Talk was 32 kilobytes. It was like it was like barely even like, it was like AM radio or something. And we'd scratch there for like hours and hours, and there's like some really good, like there's like some of the Scratch Science guys and Enfo and Rated R and DJ Flair, like there's everyone on there. And but like that was sort of the outlet to scratch with people, and and I think like we developed like as a community sort of, or culture, like scratch loopers and things to just like practice infinitely by yourself, right?
Oh, so that happened in that group, did it? The whole scratch looper thing?
No, but like through the sort of online scratch, like I think loopers actually came about on message boards. I don't, somebody who's been in it longer than me would know the exact history. But I think Too Tall was very close, and I think someone named Wax Factor, who I don't actually know, but I remember the two of the first like loopers I ever heard about were from them. But sort of, I think just like that kind of stuff, like there's a lot of internet sort of basis for the scratch community rather than like in-person stuff for a long time, and so that probably like kind of led to a lot of what you're saying and what we're talking about, like being less social and stuff. Anyways, it's like if you like, a lot of the people doing it are either doing it by themselves or have some sort of like a like internet community, like even in like I have a Discord with it's over 1,000 people now of like all turntablists, and there's tons of people there who have said like, oh, I've never been to like a live scratch event of any sort, you know.
Wow. I mean, we get asked all the time if we'll do one
somewhere else,
in another part of the country, because people are just kind of desperate for it, and we do get quite a lot of people kind of traveling as well.
We do, we do get
all over the shop, so it is interesting. But
it's amazing.
So you start to get this community, you start to kind of improve, and you start getting into the battling. Tell us a bit about like your perspective on battling, like why have you taken part in it so much? Well, what have you liked about it?
Before you answer, right, so the DMCs are coming up, and Dan does this to every single person that comes on because he's building up his arsenal of powers so we can win the DMC. So just answer with that in mind. You're advising the next UK champion, Vekked.
Okay. So let me see. For me, like how I got into it, how I got interested in it was I remember the I guess like the main spark, because I think I started to hear about DMC maybe a year or two after I started, but then I bought the 2003 World Supremacy DVD, and Tiger Style won it, and he did this routine with a Radiohead song, and I was listening to Radiohead a lot at the time, and he like flipped the is from Idiotech. He flipped like the main synth in it into like a routine. For me, that was the sort of spark, was hearing like the flip, and that's something like the idea of the flip I think is important in routines a lot, but just like starting with something, a beat, a sample, whatever, and turning it into something new, and like but also having that like contrast. Like some people I think miss that aspect of it. Like when I'm teaching people routines and stuff, I always talk about like the importance of, like with a beat juggle, having an intro so that people know what you're starting with, even if they don't know the song. Like at least they can hear it for a few bars.
What's happening?
And then they hear what you create with it, and then they can hear the difference between the two, or the flip. As opposed to if you just go straight into your breakdown with no intro, which some people do, I'm just like, you're missing like the part, the change, the transformation, basically. But when I heard that in Tiger Style's routine, I was like, oh man, that's so cool. And I started sort of understood or something, or there's something about it that just like really made sense to me, not in a battle perspective, but just like turntablism in general. And then that kind of, when I heard that you could like do that kind of stuff in a battle and in a competition, like I've always played like sports growing up and everything, and I have a bit of a competitive like streak, so so that got me into it. But like I think for me, like just my overall perspective on battling, like I think that I don't I don't know. I don't take the actual competition aspect of it as like super serious in terms of like the results are like the truth or anything like that. Like I think it's important to sort of keep in mind like what I think is like the point of battling, and I think the point of battling is just to basically like give a platform that encourages people to innovate and push the art form. And like at the end of the day, it's about the art form, it's about turntablism, and that it's not about DMC, it's not about freestyle, it's not about all these battles. Like some people get a little tunnel vision. They're almost like, it's like being a fan of like a sports league over the players or something.
Okay,
But like for me, it's about the art form first and foremost. And like yeah, and when you're making routines, like you should keep that in mind. You should just be trying to like do interesting stuff that you think is like contributing in some way. Like, you know, when you're first starting and you're first making routines, you're not going to like change the game or anything like that, but you can just like try to do stuff that is musical and interesting. And then like if you do that, and then every time you battle, if you try to beat your previous self, that's what I always tell my students as well, is like every battle, your main goal is to just set a bar, and then the next one's to do a little higher and a little higher. And that should really be your only focus, just setting the bar higher, practicing more than you did the last time. And then if your other goal is to win the battle, like eventually if you just keep beating yourself every single time forever, you'll beat everyone else as well.
Okay.
But it's a subtle difference, but I think it's a good mindset, because some people get really concerned with specifically winning the battle or beating other people, and they end up sort of like maybe pandering to judges or something, or like being so concerned with what other people are doing that they almost like end up sort of copying them, when that's like not what you're trying to do. Like the way that you do well is by like going off the path. Usually like you're not actually trying to like be better than everyone in every single way. Like for me, when I was battling, like one of my arch nemesis was Richie Roughtongue.
Okay, yeah, we love Richie. We love Richie.
Yeah, I love Richie too. But like we had lots of clashes, like head to head multiple times and stuff. And I always felt like being sort of a realist about it, that he was the stronger scratcher, and I thought I was the stronger beat juggler. So whenever I go against him, I wasn't trying to like, I wasn't using a routine where I was just like shredding like the awe sample against him, because it's just like I'm basically just
no chance. Yeah.
Well, I'm basically just highlighting exactly the stuff he's better at. So instead, I'm like, okay, I'll do something like one of my, you know, more offbeat routines, like maybe something with, you know, scratch drumming or musical stuff or something, like take a different angle, because there's more to scratching than just like technique and stuff too, right? So like I'd, you know, try to be more creative. And then for beat juggling, maybe I'd try to do my like most technical beat juggles and, you know, take that angle. Like there's like something about that. And it's about, I think, you know, battling is style clashes and taking different you're sort of taking a different strategy, and your routines are kind of your argument as to why you think that's a cool part of the art form or a cool way to do things or something, you know?
Yeah, man. I agree with you, dude. Like I think the thing about battling, you get so much out of it. Like you level up like crazy, you know, because there's just that pressure of like, oh, okay, and I'm going to create something, and then I'm going to try and improve it. And you go through that process of like looking at it, what could be better, how can I do that, what variation can I do there, blah 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 blah. And that's just like so good for learning. I think you can and I think when people go in, like a lot of the stuff that like you hear about, like, people under loads of pressure and like all this stuff and all these bad experiences that you can have with battling is largely because you're just looking at it in a way that's like a bit ego driven. It's about winning.
It's unhealthy. Exactly.
It's unhealthy. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. It's like, actually, if you're sitting there thinking, what am I going to gain from this? Well, if I lose, I've got someone to look at and go, well, what did they do differently? Like I can learn from it, you know, but equally you can just kind of come out of there and go, holy crap, I did it. Tommy Peanuts was great. He said, he was like, yeah, I don't really care about what other people are doing. I just want to do something that sounds like me. Yeah. And as a result, you know, he's been really successful. Right. And it's that, I think you totally nailed on the head.
Yeah. It's sort of a, it's a bit like of a, like ironic that in order to win, I think that you shouldn't really be so focused on winning, basically. Like that's the best way to do it. But I think it's because it's like, at the end of the day, like, it's not a sport, it's an art form. And that's why it's a little bit strange like that, because it's not about like putting a goal past the line. It's about doing something creative and innovative. And the mindset to do that is like not the same. It's not really a mindset of like, oh, I have to beat someone, so I'm going to be innovative. It's like, you just have to be like experimental and do weird stuff and cross your fingers that you stumble upon something. Like, you know, you just have to put in time.
You're just doing stuff. It's like, let an idea come, try it. Don't let it pass by, kind of thing. Just like, go out, give it a go, really push it to the end. We had lots of conversations, interestingly, about because lots of early days guys, you know, like it was 2 turntables and a crossfader, you know, and a bit of upfader stuff going on as well. But like, they were basically like, well, I just had these 2 records, and I was like, I'm going to make something with this. And it was like coming like almost the restriction you know, of it that kind of like brought it to life a little bit. But it's exactly that thing of just like, oh, I've got, you know, I'm not trying to win something here, I'm just trying to do something different, trying every possibility I possibly can within these like confined parameters to do something that nobody else has done before.
Like what you're saying, like limitations breed creativity.
You're gonna get me started on button pushing if we carry on down here. By the way, so be careful.
Yeah, no, I'm probably mostly with you on button pushing.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I'm going to use this time to put my hands up after my 6 months of slamming people for button pushing. I have in my house a set of cross 12s and a DJ MS11.
There we are.
The dark side.
But the reason I've got this is because I wanted to prove to everybody that I'm right, button pushing's rubbish. I've just got it so I can experience it, and they can't. Well, you haven't got one, you don't know what you're talking about. That's why I've done it. That's why I've blown $4,000 basically.
That's a perfect reason to do it.
So my I mean, as much as I have fun with this, obviously people that can use that equipment to such a high level and do such innovative things with that equipment, you know, if they're button pushing or not, it makes no difference to me. It's the skill involved. But you know, just the reason I love turntablism is because I know that record has a groove, and that groove only does this, and the only thing you can do is change it with your hands or bits of tape. And that really is, you know what I mean? The creativity's best friend is limitation, I feel.
Yeah. And like kind of tying the button pushing and the limitations thing together. When like as like a turntablism teacher, and like I coach tons of battle DJs, a lot who are going to be at the World Finals this year, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Team, man. That's cool.
I don't know how many yet, but I'm hoping. My previous record is 4 students at the World Finals.
Are you gonna be there like in an MMA fight? You're gonna be there cornering them.
Basically. Well, not like fully like that, because there's not much you can do after your routine.
Like screaming, slow it down. I'll focus
with support. But what I was gonna say, one of the limitations that I often like tell my students as to try and build creativity is that if you hit a button or a cue point in your routine, you're not allowed to hit another one until you touch the record. So like you unlock your button pushes. And I think that's just like a cool thing to try to do to keep things like focused on turntablism, because like I definitely am very pro like technology and effects and all this stuff. I love it all, but the underlying like foundation should still be turntablism. And sometimes to me it gets into a different art form. Like finger drumming to me was before turntable. Like it's a different art form. Like I've toured with finger drummers, they use MPCs and stuff, and now we have pads and you can finger drum. But to me, it's just not turntablism. It's just
like I'm talking to myself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm talking to a mirror.
Do you know what, Vekked, as well? Is like the finger drumming that you can do on an S11 it's not great.
Yeah, compared to like
not,
a push or something like
stuff. Yeah, this is it. Like you know. So I feel like it. I feel like it's like a sort of like dilution of both. You know, like
for sure. Yeah, it's like totally. Like if I want to watch finger drumming, there's so many amazing
Go
finger
and watch
drummers
finger drumming.
who are just like
what's
Spin
his name?
Scott or
Beats
something
by-
like that.
Oh, we had Spin Scott in the studio. He's a legend.
yeah.
He came over to the UK and did a set at the Runting studio.
There you go. Yeah,
He's Canadian. No, is he Canadian? He isn't he? Do you know him? I think he's Canadian. Yeah, I think he is.
Is he actually?
I think
I
he's
just
actually
assumed.
Canadian. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's Canadian. Yeah, he is. He came over to play Bangface, and I did a podcast
from in Canada. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, no, he's actually Canadian. Yeah, he's actually Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy. I just assumed because he was doing jungle and stuff. I just assumed.
No, he's not UK.
British.
No, he's like literally probably because the Canadians were really early adopters of the drum and bass scene. Like, so I'm part of a label called Runting. So we had like Nicky Black Market, Skibbity, like all like Ray Keefe, all the original jungle guys. And the Canadians back in the 90s were like, we want to buy all of your tape packs. And then all the promoters were like, well, if they're buying all of our tape packs, they want our DJs. And then Nicky Black Market, like all of those guys, Ray Keefe, all of the early DJs were all out there touring
in Toronto
Canada,
and stuff.
In Toronto, yeah.
I know a little bit. Like I play drum and bass shows, and I know some of the guys in that scene as well. And yeah, I know there's like definitely it goes way back. Like the jungle drum and bass scene in Canada goes back like almost as far as the turntablism scene.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Capital J is one of he's a homie was like a battle DJ in the early 90s, but also like a jungle producer and stuff. And he's telling me a little bit about like the origins of both kind of rooted in the early 90s.
The same thing, yeah. And so if you ever speak to an American who starts talking about drum and bass, you can say, well, we brought it over here first. You've got that. I could say.
Right,
look, while we're talking about limitations, I've got a question for you, Vekked.
Yes.
Now, if you had to choose between maple syrup or golden syrup, what would it be?
What is the second thing?
You don't know what golden syrup is? Right.
No,
I did not predict this. So you right. So maple syrup comes from the maple tree, doesn't it? Yeah. Golden syrup is a very
gold.
Yeah. It's golden syrup is a very sugary syrup. It's basically just sugar, but it's golden and it's not.
Is that like I think we just call it fake maple syrup.
Okay, so if you had to choose between fake maple syrup or maple syrup, what would it be?
Are you kidding? I don't think that this golden syrup stuff, I'm pretty sure like is not even legal here. It's probably even banned in Canada. That's why I don't know about it.
Right, well, you've just totally ruined my. Let's see what Random's going to say about this. I'm not even going to fucking sing the song.
Pretty close, man.
What?
Vekked has just said that golden syrup isn't real.
It's just not you. All right, Dan, how you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Hey, Random.
Good. Hi, Mr. Vekked. I hope they're not interrogating you too much.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Random seems to be ignoring me, so I think you need to ask him the question.
Okay.
Sorry, Dan, I didn't catch that.
So what?
So I guess you're phoning me up because you've got some sort of stupid fucking question.
Yeah, there'll be some sort of stupid question. So, which is better out of maple syrup or golden syrup? Vekked seems to believe that golden syrup may well be illegal in Canada.
I've never heard of it. It doesn't. As far as I know, it doesn't exist.
To be frank, it's absolutely shit. I mean, it tastes a bit plasticky. Do you know what I mean? Especially after like a couple of tins of it. Makes me feel a bit sick, but I'd have to say it's going to have to be maple syrup for the win. I mean, I would definitely put it down as one of the best things that's ever come out of America.
Well, that was.
Listen, I would love to keep you boys all night. Dan, Vekked, not you. And
well, what are you up to, Random?
I've got to go. I've got loads of really important shit to do, so I've got to go.
Okay.
So
Wow.
so basically I told Random that that playing with air horns was really immature, and I think I've annoyed him.
Oh wait, he likes air horns?
He loves air horns, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
in
he's
DJ sets?
No, he uses
Oh.
them as a tool to annoy people.
Oh,
Basically.
okay. That
So,
yeah,
yeah,
they're probably good for that.
When he's doing a radio show, he'll like take him along and annoy like Jazz T and basically. So yeah.
Sorry about that weird sort of. I don't even know what that was.
Man.
There isn't a lot
really.
of briefing that goes on this side, so and that was all a surprise to me as well. So
Yeah. Well, I've just learned about golden syrup. I guess next time I'm in the UK, I'll have to try this abomination.
Well, no, you can't call it an abomination until you try it. Just like me owning an S11, I can now call it an abomination.
That's true. That's I guess yeah.
To be fair, I do feel like the S11 is high quality.
It is very nice.
I'm totally honest, it's
Although
a very nice mixer.
Mine turned
Great
up.
crossfader.
Mine turned up, and the master knob it rubs. It hasn't been set properly, so I'll be complaining to Pioneer about that. What we're talking about, Pioneer, you have done one of the most entertaining, mental things I've ever seen, and I've been absolutely loving all of your videos. What's it called, Dan?
The Frankenscratch.
What the heck? Come on.
How did that even story of this? Come on.
The Frankenscratch. So it's a turntable guitar, essentially, or CDJ guitar, depending which version. Well, actually, they're technically all like CDJ guitars, I guess.
Nobody speak, nobody get short. Nobody speak, nobody get short.
I've made 4 of them. 3 are Denon based.
I saw the Denon one, yeah.
The Denon ones have the moving platter, and then for NAMM this year, I made one of the CDJ 3000 just because I was showcasing for Pioneer, just like independently, and I just sort of pitched them the idea. I'm like, I usually use this thing for my show, but obviously I'd want to make a Pioneer one. So I cooked one up of the CDJ 3000, and yeah, basically. It was an idea that I wanted to try for a while. Like for me, let's see. So basically, for the turntable guitar, it sort of came about after battling, when I started to play shows, or sort of during battling as well. When I started to play more shows and tour and that kind of thing, one of the things that I ran into a lot, which I'm sure a lot of other like sort of touring and turntablists who play out can relate to this, but like there's a lot of venues where people can't see you, and you're like either in a DJ booth or you're on a festival stage, and they put all these like crazy like stuffed animals in front of you or whatever they do, and and like they can't see your hands, like no one knows. And so I think for the average person, if they can't see it, like they don't actually know it's live or that you're doing it.
So I'm gonna stop you there. Remember what you're saying, right? Yep. So the reason why that happened is because 99.9% of DJs, in essence, don't do anything for 5 minutes in between transitions. So really, to have them seen, if you're just watching somebody, well, you used to have to watch people beat match, which if you know what they're doing, is quite fun to watch them running pictures. But with CDJs and sync, they don't necessarily have to. You've got the D&B guys that like quadruple dropping, but in essence, you can't really see what they're doing. So really, the live scene isn't really made up for people that are doing really complicated, fast, handsy stuff. So
it's not really made with us in mind. And so one of the adjustments I started to make that I just never felt good about was just like making like my routines a bit more just like mixing oriented. And like, you know, at first I was like, oh, I'm just like not going to beat juggle if people can't see. And then sometimes I was like, oh, I won't do this scratch thing if people can't see or whatever. And then it just sort of like felt like at some point I'm just watering down like everything that I like about it because people can't see. And then I was like, man, I wish there's like some way I could go kind of avoid that. And one of the ideas, even before the the Franken scratch was like having like a video feed, like, and bringing that around to shows and everything, which I think some people do that. I think JFB might do that, which is a really good idea. But
I think Yoda definitely does, doesn't he? Because he does the whole video thing, doesn't he?
Yeah, but even that is like comes with so much like sort of hassle. Like a lot of venues don't have a projector or whatever, and like you can't even request it. So even that's like you know you might get like an extra few shows that people can see your stuff. But then I was sort of thinking about this turntable guitar idea. I've seen a few examples, like even I think the first one that I saw was the Vestax one.
The
like,
Vestax actually did it, didn't they? They did it with the Pro tone arm, and they were actually using a record.
Yeah, and so they made 2 different ones too, which like I kind of found out. Like I've dove into the history of the turntable guitar a little bit as well, like since making it. But there's that. I think Cut Chemist had some sort of, I don't know if it was a guitar per se, but he had a strap on his CDJ, and I think he just had like a kill switch, maybe. I'm not exactly sure.
He used to slow like a bass sound down, and then he would do hip hop, didn't he?
Yeah, dead press. Yeah,
hip hop. Yeah, dead press. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So that, did one that was definitely the most like robust, and it was a Denon based, and he actually had them for sale for a while, and basically at some point in there, like I wanted to do it, so I'd say for me is around 2016 when I started, and I basically the missing puzzle piece was a fader or a kill switch. I started with a kill switch. Like I took a bit of a inspiration from Buckethead, who has a kill switch on his guitar, and I used it for my first version of it. But long story short, it pops really loud. There's
no feel either. I remember the early DJ. So my first DJ Max actually had 2 kill switches, which either killed or brought the sound in.
Yep.
And you can get some really quick movements on them, but there's something about a crossfader where there's feel, there's travel. So you've got
for sure.
Really get some stuff going.
It's definitely more limited. And well, what I learned very quickly was that like if you just cut the sound in and out, it just like pops really loud, and there's all this other electronics inside that makes stuff cut cleanly. Like even for a crossfader, you can't just hook a straight crossfader up, because that's my next step. Was I got Pro X Fade, just hooked that up, and it just pops, and it doesn't sound very good, especially when you amplify it. So then I worked with like a electrical engineer and started making like a standalone crossfader, and had it like very close to the point where it was like the sharpest cutting ever, but still was leading to it would pop when you hit like transients. Like if you produce and you cut on the waveform when it's up, you'll get that pop. That happens still when you're doing live scratching. And just as I was like, we were sort of figuring that out, Raiden Fader dropped their Innofader based Raiden Fader like standalone crossfader, and that was like the final puzzle piece. And I saw it and I was like, okay, this is just better than what I'm trying to make. So basically, like threw my prototype to the side. I still have it somewhere. It's like built out of like a PVC pipe and stuff. And
you should definitely actually do a thing on this, because I think a lot of people will be really interested in that journey, man.
And then once the Raiden Fader came, then all the technology pieces were there, like putting, it's basically just some sort of a device and a fader, like that's the essence of it. But then getting it so that you can wear it without it just falling and smashing to bits is another issue. But luckily, like my dad he does basically all the trades, but he does metalwork.
Okay.
And I basically told him the idea, and he came up with sort of a harness system, and that like kind of wraps around the CDJ and like clamps in and everything so that it's really, really solid. And then the fader, it didn't really, I don't think I started with trying to make it like look like a guitar, but just putting the fader in sort of a comfortable position. Like you don't want it really close to your body, you want it sort of extended out. And then it's just like, oh, you know, I've got this like basically a piece of metal hanging out the side, so to make it look cool, just like put a little like guitar neck looking thing on it. Yeah, so it started as just sort of wanting to have a way of like, is like, so with that, no matter what, if it's a DJ booth or a festival, I can walk out with that, people can see me scratching. And I think like it's a very sort of divisive thing for me, because I think a lot of like the hardcore people like myself, they see it and they just think it's like so gimmicky and stuff, and which it is. But I think that you know, there's something that some people, like if you're just like watching videos or whatever, you don't really get this part, or if you're like, you know, thinking about just like your own scene and that kind of thing, like it's like the turntable guitar is not really meant for like the real like turntablists and stuff. I do so much stuff that is like hardcore, like, you know, all the most technical patterns and everything, and you like, that's the rest of my set. I only use this for a few minutes, and it's for people who are not turntablists and who don't get it at all. And I've just experienced from using it so many times, like there's people who don't understand scratching at all, but when I walk out with that and they see it like spinning and they see it moving back, and they make the connection between what they hear and what it's like in your face. You can't like ignore it. Even if there's like a video screen, you might not be like paying attention, but it's like it helps people like sort of get it. It's more for like the sort of
I think
people who aren't turntablists and
well, you know, so I saw that video and I watched it. And I was like, and my brain just went, right, why has he done that? And it went ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And basically nearly everything you've just described, my brain was like, that's why, that makes it, that's really fun. Really good social media. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, it's actually like, it's really hard to scratch on. Like,
because it's like a weird
rubbing your belly up and down this way. Yeah, it's super.
We won't go into what that is. but that's why I messaged you, actually.
Oh, really?
I saw that video and the whole journey went through my brain, and I was like, we need to get this guy on the podcast. I literally watched the video, went right, follow, and went right, you up for the podcast? And you went, yeah, and it was like literally one of the best things ever. So
I think I already saw clips, at least from John First's podcast with you guys already, but yeah, that's sort of how it came about. And then I like, the first time I used it and that most people saw it was I used it at the Goldie Awards in 2017.
I want to talk to you about the Goldie Awards as well, man.
That
thing with A-Track's voice.
Oh yeah.
That has got to be just one of my favorite bits of like DJ history. That and the "This Is a Game to You" thing. It's just like absolutely amazing, man. It's just fun.
What's up, everybody? This is A-Track. What's up, everybody? This is
Vekked.
I was listening to a lot of A-Track, and I came up with the idea to remix A-Track into Daft Punk. 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 Into the funk. A-track into Daft Punk.
It's just fun, man. Like one of the slight challenges I have with turntablism is people do take it a little bit seriously. And that's totally up to them. But for me, it's sort of the DJ and like all of that. It's still very centered around fun. Like I've always kind of felt like who really cares like about like anything if like everybody in the room is having fun. Like it doesn't matter if the DJ's just dropping Taylor Swift. Like if everyone in the room is enjoying some Taylor Swift, then I'm good with it. And I do and it's so like, just having someone like yourself with some unbelievable level of skills come on and do something just fun with A-track sitting there like, what the hell is going on?
Just in case there's people listening that haven't seen that routine, explain what happened.
Well, basically, Vekked takes a recording of is it a recording of A-track, or is it just you saying I'm going to do a remix of A-track's voice?
No, it's A-track's voice. So basically, A-track did a compilation just before this battle that was I think it's called 10 Years of Remixes or something, and it was all the biggest remixes he did, and he between each track he talked for like a minute or two about the background of it, and then I went through, there's like a lot of him just talking with no background, and I found him saying remix A-track into Daft Punk.
That is it.
And like he said Daft Punk as like a I think that he might have been talking about he introduced Kanye West to Daft Punk for Stronger was maybe the context of that. But I found those words and I just like pieced it together and then came up with the routine idea around that.
And it just, for those listening who haven't seen it, and we'll make sure that we put a link up, like it basically slowly transforms into having the vocoder over it and becoming a Daft Punk tune.
Yeah. I just,
Did A-track know that was coming? Like, because when you watch the video,
yeah, no, nobody did. And when I did it, I fully was accepting that probably a lot of people wouldn't understand or wouldn't really get what I'm doing. Like, but hopefully, like this is when you're talking about sort of keeping stuff fun, like something that I always tried to do, and I think is important with especially battling, but routines in general is like, it's one thing to do something and just like knowing that it's creative or interesting or new or something. But then it's another thing having other people also think that or also agree with you, basically. Like if you do something innovative but no one knows that it's innovative, like it almost doesn't matter. You have to find a way to do something innovative, but then when you show people, they're like, oh, that's innovative. Like you need to do that as well. So it's important to make things like or not necessarily with innovation, but just like entertainment as well, like making things accessible so that people understand it, even if they don't understand like all the nitty gritty behind it. So they can, if you do something that like the only way that people can enjoy it is if they like understand all these, like all this history and references that you've incorporated, then it's sort of
what's brilliant about you though is I see you like a gateway drug of turntablism. Do you know the term gateway drug?
Yeah.
You start with something small and easy to deal with, and then you move on to the really hard stuff, right?
All right.
To be fair, that is a fairly decent description.
I'm really
good some
at
of your
analogy.
best routines start as well, mate. Like I love the one where you're doing the kind of like strobe chase thing between like DJs who juggle this way or whatever.
Oh, the 2013
have no skills or whatever.
This is a public service announcement brought to you in part by
DJ Vekked.
Beat Juggling.
Like
This
takes
absolutely
no
skills. Will you cut that shit out?
This is how it should be done.
It's funny. I just showed that on my stream. I did I do this Monday masterclass thing every Monday where I stream and like just teach ideas, whatever. And yesterday was on transitions in battle routines, and I went through. I just felt the best way to do was to go through all my old routines and show the transitions specifically, even the bad ones, and basically say like why they're bad, because it's easier for me to like. It's a lot, I don't know, nicer to show people my bad stuff than other people's bad stuff. So I did that, but I showed that the 2013 and played the intro, and I was like, oh man, I feel like this intro is like maybe even more relevant now than it was when I did it 12 years ago.
I mean, but it's so like I quite like because my DMC routine last year. One of the things that I wanted to do was I just wanted to comment on the scene a little bit, so I had David Attenborough. I got an AI version of David Attenborough, and I basically narrated a bit of a story. And at the very end, because he's talking about how great turntablism is, and then at the very end he says, "But have you got anything that we can actually dance to? Maybe some ABBA."
Have you been practicing that impression, buddy?
And it just and I take it's very different to what you do, but I took inspiration from the fact that you just had fun with it. You were quite happy to almost kind of comment on the art form, and it's a whole other angle. It just adds like another layer of like interest to it. The people who aren't in the scene can kind of be brought into it. The people who are in the scene are like, ha.
Right.
And it's just like unifying what is quite niche. I really love it, man. That thing as well with the one of the other routines, I can't remember which one it is, but the one where you've got, I think it's like you either have rhythm or you don't have rhythm. That
oh nice, yeah.
Genius.
Rhythm, you have it or you don't have rhythm, you have it or you don't
that was another one where when I had that sort of like little wordplay. So that was inspired by DJ Noise did a diss against Rock Rada in, I want to say it was in his 96 routine. Could have been his 95 as well, because they went head to head a couple times, but he did a diss against Rock Rada, where it was a wordplay but just scratching the words in a different order. To my man Rock Rada Rock. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And so that was the inspiration.
I was always like, man, I like people do wordplay with like more juggle based stuff, but I was like, oh, I wish like someday I can come up with like a scratch one. And yeah, that was the like I probably had the idea to try to do that for years and years, but that was the one that kind of came together, and I was like, oh, it's kind of a cool little hook, and is again something where I was like, I don't think everyone's gonna get it, but the people who do get it are gonna be like, oh man, that's like, it's just like a little like point of interest on the routine,
It's lush, man, and because it's in the intro as well, it's like, whoa, you've caught me. Like, I was like, yeah, this, and then it goes on to being unbelievable. How do you? Because you've come up with a lot of routines, right? To say the least. Like, what does that process look like to you? Do ideas just pop in your head and you try them? Like, what does it look like?
Man, it's there's a lot of moving parts in the routine making process, but it kind of evolved as I was battling, and it's probably different now than when I was battling, like when you're doing different stuff. But like I'd say in like 2015, when I was sort of at my peak of battling, and I was sort of feeling like at that point I'd already won IDA twice and DMC Supremacy, and I was sort of like, I was feeling like basically my only thing left was to win the 6-minute DMC and DMC online at that time. But basically I had to win. Like that's like, I had to be the best. There's no, if I got second or third again, then it was just like not doing anything for me, because I'd already got second and third. So basically it was like a full year process. Like for me, it was like like after DMC finished that year, it wasn't like, oh, I take a break and start my routines when it's announced next year. It was like, no, I'm still making routines. I'm just it was like sort of a habit or like a ritual, was just always being like creating and being creative and listening for samples. Like even if I was like, watching a movie or a show or something, I'd like listen for a sample or something, keep track of that. And I sort of like, this is what I'd recommend to people too who are making routines, is like, instead of just like waiting and trying to cram everything and trying to like just bank on magically being like super creative in the month before the battle, like do it as more of like a passive thing where you're just always gathering the ideas and resources you need. So like I'd constantly be I'd have a sample crate with I have 3 different types of samples, sort of. One is like composition samples, which are like intros, outros, transitions, stuff you're not really scratching but are cool to have in the routine anyways, is sort of necessary. Then I'd have like my scratch, like shred samples, where more technical based stuff, and then musical samples, which could be instruments, or it could even be like drums or rap vocals, like anything that you're doing more funky stuff and musical rather than just like shredding like a or fresh sample. So I'd be gathering those all the time. I'd be gathering beats, like juggle beats and scratch beats, and then just like trying to sort of connect dots. So for me, it was always like finding a sample and a beat. Like for a scratch routine, it's like matching one sample to one beat. That's like the start of it. Like you can't start anywhere else. You need a sample and a beat that go together. And then like trying to make as many of those as possible. It could be different beats, different samples, and then trying to get another sample in there, like 2 samples and a beat, and 3, like, and just sort of building it up piece by piece. Like I remember like the process for how certain routines came together, like with the Rhythm You Have It or You Don't routine, or like the KMD routine. It started as like the harmonica solo that I do at the end. The whole routine was that. It was just a 90-second harmonica solo, and I had like way more harmonica scratching in it. It was sort of like I was really inspired by like Kid Koala's drunk trumpet, where he just scratches trumpet the whole thing, and I was trying to like do that, but then I made that, and then I showed some people and sort of just sat with it for a while, and kind of realized that it needed more than just that for a battle routine. It needed a bit more technicality and that kind of thing to balance out the musicality. So then after that, I think the next part was the technical parts. Like there's the O sample where I focus on faderless stuff, and then the damn sample where I focus on just like doing really fast, like
I've tried slowing that down to figure what that out is. At some point you're gonna have to tell me how on earth you did that. It's just such
that's
it's like, oh, love it.
I call that the vector scratch. It's like it's it's sort of a variation on the swing flare, but it's not quite a swing flare. It's like I also did it earlier, like I have a routine, Do I Have to Tell You That You're Whack from 2012. That's what won me over Richie the first time. But that one, that's where I kind of, I guess, like first used that technique or that pattern. And yeah, but I'll break it down sometime.
Yeah, but, please.
Basically, like, so I put in the technical part next, and then I think the Rhythm You Have It or You Don't, that was I think I was using that for a different routine or something. That sometimes is how it goes too, is like I'll have different sort of like I said, like pairs of samples and beats, and different ones. And then sometimes one's just not turning out, but I can kind of cannibalize it and put it into another routine that has more potential. And it just sort of, go like that over time. The Sega routine.
You think it's a game? You think it's a video game?
That one, I have very vivid memories because it's very stressful making that routine. But for like my 2015 DMC online, basically, I had my routine mostly finished pretty early. So I had the first version of the routine was the KMD rhythm, you have it or you don't, and the welcome to the next level part with the tiger style beat, and the guillotine like tone juggle thing. All of that was there. But then I didn't have the Sega routine. The finale, or maybe it wasn't at the end, but the other part in it was my full clip juggle, which I've posted separately. But that was the other part of it. And I like the full clip juggle. Like I think
I loved it. I love that.
I thought it was like I tried to flip it in a fresh way, like even though it's a very classic beat, but I felt like it still wasn't. There's some beats that haven't been completely like retired, like no one's done like a untouchable routine with it or something. So I was like, oh man, maybe I can use that. But then I remember showing my 6 minute to DJ Dopey, 2003 world champ, fellow Canadian, and he was and is always good for feedback because he went through it. He became world champ. He knows what it takes, and he can give he could give a level of feedback that other people couldn't, who are my friends and homies. Like, and basically he said like, I like it, but it's still missing like something, like it's not quite like a world champion routine yet. And he said, I think the full clip part needs to go because it's a great routine. Like it will win nationals for sure. But at worlds, there's going to be other people with that stuff on that level.
What is it then? What was that thing he was talking about, which elevates a routine from nationals to world?
I think it's like just an extra level of like creativity and innovation, and something that's like not like the like inspirations and stuff aren't as obvious. Like sometimes when you can make a really amazing juggle, or somebody can have a really well composed juggle, but I can kind of hear like where they're taking the ideas from. And even if they're doing something a little bit different, it's still like, that's sort of what separates like an 8 out of 10 routine from a 10 out of 10. Is like a 10 out of 10 routine is like, I've never heard anything like it. I don't even like it just sort of appeared out of nowhere. There's not really like, I can't really think of like, oh, he got this idea from that, or it's been like, you can't really trace the path of where it came from. It's like, kind of magic. And so he said that, and then I was like, oh man. And at the time I was jamming, like, so I had like a little like funk band side project thing, Vekked and the Real Musicians. And we were messing with some like video game stuff. and I'd just gotten the Vesax PDX 3000 turntable, which has
the
this
MIDI control on
MIDI.
it. Yeah.
You can plug a keyboard in and control the pitch in semitones, like the Reloop 8000 MK2.
Oh, that's how you did that, because I was watching that earlier with the controller.
Yeah, watch the label and how fast it turns. The higher pitches, it spins faster.
Yeah, because those motors are pretty. Yeah, they're talky as how they can do that.
Yeah, you can move fast. Yeah.
So I came up with like a melody with the Sega intro for any you know, Sega Genesis or Mega Drive games back in the day. Yeah. So I looped that and it just became like this like perfect tone. And then I started the routine over. I had a copy of Paul Nice's drum library. I forget which volume, but the drums are like just a straight drum break with nothing else. And I had that like hook going, and then I came up with like a little scratch solo with a Liu Kang flying kick.
Yeah.
And then once I had those parts, I'm like, oh man, like this, like the scratch element of this is cool. Like this can be something, but the beat, like I can't just use a drum beat. And so I looked for like all these beats and stuff. But one of the big issues with that, from a like sort of just musicality standpoint, is that the Sega tone is actually a chord. So when you're playing like a melody with it, you're actually playing a full chord progression. And from a just like a music theory standpoint, you can't really put a chord progression over almost anything that's not that same chord progression. It's just not going to mesh. You're going to have key clashing.
Plus it's going to be weird because you're not going to be moving major to minor from within the same key, so it'll end up
it's all major chords because
it's all major. So you can only go 1, 4, and 5 if you're going to stay in a key.
Exactly. So it's not. It's sort of it's sort of its own thing in the like in that routine. So I was like, oh man, I have to like make a beat for it. So I produced the beat, but I was like now I'm very comfortable with production. I've been doing it. I did scoring and stuff, and I've like kind of worked in production, so I know now. But at the time, I was like completely winging it. Like I'd just learned Ableton like that year. This is like the first beat I even showed anybody. So
really,
I made the beat like I got help from one of my bandmates on like making the bass line that followed the chords, and then I just started throwing sonic samples into the beat and stuff. Like you can hear all the like ding and the jump sounds and stuff, and just sort of like trying my best to tune them to the key of the track, and then finding other samples. Like there's an Altered Beast one, and NBA Jam, and Mortal Kombat, of course, and all those samples, just trying to figure out, and like I took these all from like purely from my memory. I didn't like watch a YouTube video and be like top Sega samples. Like these are just like the ones that were burned into my soul from like a kid.
And that's nice.
And well, and I think like this wasn't the intention, but I think by doing it that way, those are the same sounds that a lot of people from their childhood remember.
All the ones I can remember. Yeah.
So it like really resonated with people. But yeah, it's basically like that's sort of how it came about. I like had to produce it, but then I'm still like a little bit like of a purist with how routines are made. So I didn't like produce a beat juggle. Like I produced the beat and then I figured out a beat juggle with it, with the drum scratching and stuff. I just like made a more conventional juggle, made it as like as cool and hard as I could. That juggle in that routine is actually the hardest part of any routine I've ever done still. There's this one part where I hit the start stop button on the turntable 3 times in a row. Like every time I hit the start stop, it's like stop, start, stop. So it goes bow, whoa. Like does that little pitch bend? It's because I'm like 3-click flaring the start stop. And it another thing where I'm like, I don't even know if anybody else would catch it, but it's just those things you do because I was just like, oh, I don't think that I've seen anybody do that, or it just seems like a unique thing and stuff.
Well, you must have had probably one of the best stop-start buttons on a PDX series, because those stop-start buttons are notoriously shit.
So I think, like, I'd have to watch the video, but I'm pretty sure that I was using a Stanton on that side.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
I would never risk like relying on that stop-start button.
No, I love PDXs for scratching.
They're wonderful, yeah. I got 14 of them. I've got 14, so
yeah.
Yeah,
the start stop is trash though. So yeah,
trash,
I would never juggle on the PDX for that reason. But yeah, but that routine, like the big sort of thing that I think maybe kind of satisfied the more creative like element, or like made it sort of that extra lift past like the full clip, is like using like the keyboard and everything, even though that's a built-in feature to the turntable. But like mostly for rule reasons, I don't think anybody ever did it in battling. Like before DMC Online, there was no opportunity to use controllers and stuff.
You were using an actual like Sega controller though, weren't you?
Yeah, there's one where you do. Yeah.
In the Goldie Awards, because for the Goldie Awards, basically, I was retired from battling. I did not want to battle, and I wasn't trying to enter the Goldie Awards. But then A-Track like messaged me and was like, "Hey, can you enter the Goldie Awards?" And I was like, I can't now. I have to. Like, I can't like turn him down. And when I entered too, it seemed like there wasn't many people entering, and then as soon as mine was posted, and then all these beasts like Rafik and Yudo and stuff came, and I was like dreading it. But I thought it was gonna be a lot easier. But then for that one, because so I was like I actually shot my my elimination video for the Goldie Awards like on tour. I was on tour right from the eliminations all the way up to the Goldie Awards. So I was like, I made the Daft Punk thing and the turntable guitar, but I was like, just can't make enough. I actually had new routines for the final if I made it too, but I was like, I'm just going to reuse the Sega, but I wanted to make it different. So it wasn't just exactly the version I did. And the new sort of idea and thing I was playing with was the MIDI mapping video game controllers. So I just it's pretty like straightforward. It's kind of, again, like just sort of gimmicky, but I just MIDI map the game controller to hot cues. So it's like
that's one of the things about you that draws people in that don't necessarily know about scratching, because everybody can look at that and go, well, wait there, why is there turntables and a computer game controller, and why is that computer game controller making noises? And then they stay on the video, and then they've got that, an 11-year-old kid that's never seen that has got 3 minutes chance to fall in love with scratching and change his life. So this sort of stuff is so important.
I think it's a good thing to always keep in mind, like accessibility and making people like get what you're doing and not just completely ignoring that, because there's so many opportunities to do that in routines where I can do the exact same thing with just the pads on the mixer, but doing the controller with a video game routine is
it's the bit,
it makes people get it, and like is like this and there's like one thing where I hit the cue and I hit the start stop with the controller at the same time. That's like I'm hitting the cue for that turntable, so it's like that's probably only possible with that, but there's for the most part I could do it otherwise. And there's another thing in my 2015 online where I do like a 3 turntable thing where I am juggling a guitar over a beat. And most turntablists know that like if you wanted to play a third beat, you could just do it in the sampler. People have done that before. I did it for the world final. Like you can just play the beat in the sampler and scratch on both records. But like when you do that, somebody who's not a turntablist, even like even if they're a DJ, they might not understand what's going on, and to them it's just like there's sound coming from nowhere, and they might just think that you're like faking it or something.
I mean, that's getting dangerously close to backing track. You know, if you're from the 90s, backing tracks were the worst you could ever do. Now it's like standard fare, but I think that is, we're getting close to like mini vanilla turntablism.
Like but just for that section of my 2015 routine, I hooked up another turntable and laptop to play the beat on that turntable, so people could see like there's 3 turntables going, there's 3 sources. Like there's literally, that's the only reason for the 3rd turntable. But for me, it's important that people understand like that there's a 3rd source and where it's coming from, and it's not just like playing from thin air and that kind of thing. There's, you know, those little things I think are still important, beyond just the final end result. Like it's not just about how things sound, but how you do it, and whether people can understand it is also important.
Okay, I got an interesting one, right? So with that in mind, right, what do you think of people getting a beat in Ableton and chopping it to make it easier to juggle for the routine?
No, I can't stand it.
Okay.
No, to me, it's with beat juggling, it's people, I think in general, people like the general like knowledge and skill level of beat juggling in the world is a lot lower than scratching, so people don't really know what's happening, so people get away with it. But for me, it's the same as like, and people do this too, which annoys me, but if you take like, say, Cut Like a Guillotine, and then you go into Ableton and you make it like cut like
that's naughty. I think.
And like you can tell when people are like doing stuff that is impossible, and they're sort of doing it to make it easier, instead of actually doing it. Like, you could just stab it that fast, but you've like, you know, made an edit of the sample to, or like even more egregious one would be like putting silence in the awe sample, like a click in the awe sample, like in the actual sample, right? So that you get like an extra
one, a free one,
like that's like you know, maybe you can do something innovative with it, but there's, if you're not, then it's pretty corny to like kind of make your skills seem higher than they are. So with beat juggling, for me, that's kind of, there's sometimes when people are doing stuff that is still like patterns wise fine, but like when I watch a juggle like that, I can tell what's going on. Like even though a random crowd person, they can't tell the difference between a real beat and a chopped one, but it's like I know what patterns are possible and what aren't possible, or what ones are coming from doing a fast fader movement versus ones that like there's just a snare roll magically on the record that wouldn't be there, you know? So so I don't like it at all. And I think like it, like the art form of beat juggling for me is like flipping the beat and flipping the material that's there and trying to make something new. And if you've done like I guess like a lot of times when people are doing it too much in Ableton or too much like production, they're sort of creating the whole flip like in Ableton or in a DAW, and then recreating it on the turntables, which is like sort of like we're supposed to take something and dismantle it, not take something and put it back together. It's even though like to the untrained eye and ear it looks the same, and you know, and I've often heard people say like, oh well, it sounds like a real song, like it sounds like a perfect song. It's like, well, yeah, it sounds like a real song because it's like all been curated and lined up so that like you could literally just trick mix and it plays the original song. So needless to say, I don't like it very much.
I got another one for you. Right. So in the world of scratching, I use this as an example, the 2-click flare.
Yes.
Now, there are some people, especially in the UK, because it actually comes up at Scratch Jams quite a lot, and they'll 2-click with a twiddle.
Oh,
instead
God.
of doing a 2-click with just the finger.
Yeah. Do you know?
Go on. What were you going to say?
I said, is this a loaded question? Do you know?
No. I just like to get people's opinion on it, because there's a camp of people that are like, unless you're doing it properly as it was invented, you're doing it wrong, and it's not what it is. And there's some people that go, as long as you're making the sound and you're getting that, then that's legit. And it's just, we find it really interesting to see where people sit in those two camps. I'm not saying either opinion's either wrong or right, but I just like to get an opinion.
But I'm just making sure, like, you've never heard my thoughts on twiddles, I guess.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
I think that, like, twiddles, like, long story short, I think people who twiddle should probably be in jail. And like, okay, like, I accept that, like, twiddles are like, on paper, like, in theory, you can get the same sound as a 2-click flare and stuff, but it's also like the wimpiest looking scratch I've ever seen. Like, if you're like doing like this little like this kind of movement, like, just look at that. Just look at how that's like, you wouldn't, if somebody's doing this, like, you'd call the cops on them.
I would say a certain population of the human race, i.e. the woman, would probably find that quite attractive if you were doing it quite fast and for a long period of time.
Maybe. But but here's the other thing. If you twiddle, like, for your 2-clicks instead of like moving your wrist to 2-click, like, imagine in like an apocalypse or something like that, and like your arm is
okay, you've got me now. Come on,
your arm is like so weak because you can't even lift it to do 2 clicks on the fader. You've got to like resort to using your fingers to do it. Like, you're definitely the first person to be eaten by the zombies. Like all twiddlers will be just like thrown to the zombies right away.
Right, okay, so I know why you think that, because you
twiddlers will be thrown to the zombies. Right, I'm getting that on a t-shirt.
Oh, yeah, but all those years of picking the garlic, getting that wrist really strong.
Exactly.
So your 2-click, you're like all about the wrist, yeah? How about the one finger tappers that do that movement?
Oh, like the lobster claw thing?
The lobster 2-clicks.
Well, the pincher lobster is like, I think it's viable, like, in terms of, like, people do it and get really good 2-clicks from it, so I can't front. But I think that, like, for when I'm teaching people, I tell them to avoid it because it's inefficient. Like, it's hard. I think it's too much movement, and a lot of people get stuck not being able to go that fast because they're like, you don't need to move 5 inches to move a fader 1 millimeter. Right. So yeah, I guess so. Okay. Jokes aside, I'm very very wary of twiddles because a lot of people, and crabs are somewhat the same way, but some people kind of use them as a crutch, right? I feel like, just in my experience, more people use crabs and use them to like do cool things, whereas a lot of people who twiddle use it to avoid learning 2-clicks. But then, as you guys probably know, like,
you can't boom
exactly, like there's so many techniques that are based off of 2-click flares. There are 2-click 2 clicks on the fader, but having very precise position of the clicks. So your OG flares, your autobahns, your boomerangs, there's so many 2-click based techniques. And if you're going to twiddle your 2-click orbit, like, are you going to twiddle all of those techniques? Like, I haven't seen anybody who really does.
I don't think you can. That was because I twiddled at first and had to learn. How
he loves it. I can't believe I just happened across this subject.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
He's loving it.
I had to. Eventually, I gave up on trying to do other techniques that way and was like, I'm just going to have to learn this the old-fashioned way. And it's taken me like 2 solid years of just like going like this, and even practicing away from the decks, like just getting used to the counting 1, 2, 3 in my head, like, because you just eventually you just have to do it. If you want to do any of the more exciting, slightly wild, flary stuff, you just got to do it.
Yeah, it's it's good to like develop that like individual control of like one movement per click rather than sort of getting a bunch of clicks or a bunch of sounds like in one motion, because like in the grand scheme of things, like it's about having control and being able to just be flexible on different rhythms. So like it doesn't stop at 2 clicks. There's 3 clicks and 4 and 5. I did a stream the other day. Someone asked me to do like all the flares I knew. I got up to 12 click flares.
Did you?
That one. And like they're like basically like after a certain point, it's kind of ridiculous, but it's just like if you just have to like you just keep clicking, right? But if you like you can't do 12 notes with 2 fingers, right? You have to be able to build up just that like constant like rhythm of just like your wrist firing multiple times in a row until you get it up to 12.
So I can't even imagine what that was. Were you just like moving the record at like fucking 5 BP 5?
Yeah. In order to fit it in, you have to go like super slow. Yeah.
So would you do so if I was to like blind taste test you, do you think you could tell between somebody doing a twiddle 2 click and a wrist 2 click? Do you reckon you could work that out?
I would say okay, if the twiddlers were see, even the word sounds like
it's an unfortunate. It's an unfortunate name.
Like if you call someone a twiddler, like that's yeah. Exactly. Yeah. See where I'm coming from? So
you sold me back.
Yeah.
You sold me.
If the twiddlers are like just a random selection, I think I'd probably get it with like 99%. But then if you get the people who are, there are a few twiddlers out there who can like do it clean and stuff and have really good usually it's only with orbits though, like just like two click back and forth. There's a few that are a little bit tougher to tell, but I think for the most part I think I can even tell a lot of times for them just with the what I hear a lot of times is the amount of like silence in the technique. Like it's when you're doing like a crab, the silences are really, really short. Whereas when you're doing a flare, like to me, it sounds like a little more like chunky and choppy and like, which I like that sound. But
wonderful. Yeah. So we are coming up to about an hour and a quarter, aren't we? So
that's hour and 45.
Hour and 45. That's flown by.
So
absolutely flown by.
I do because talking about the flip and all that jazz. Obviously, you've been running battles as well online.
Yep.
So, and I've seen something. I didn't catch it all, I'll be honest. But the stuff I saw was really, really cool. And I just wonder how that came about, and like are you going to continue running them and all that sort of stuff?
Like flip or flop?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a battle I've been doing on Twitch since 2020. I've done 8 seasons of it so far. There will definitely be more, just because the whole battle is it takes around 3 months, because it's like a weekly battle. I've sort of structured it like a sports league where during the like regular season, you're trying to get points and the top 8 go to playoffs. Nice. And yeah, essentially it's like there's a topic every week. And there's top 3 every week to get points for the playoffs, and it can be juggling, scratching, like even more specific, it can be tone scratching, it can be 45 juggles, reverse juggles, like there will be always like a specific thing, and it's to get people to like sort of get out of their comfort zone. But the other part of it is it's all using material produced by people in my Discord and Twitch community. So all the material, like the DJs only get it 24 hours before the deadline. So you really can't prepare for it. Like you just have to like do it.
Material, create. Done.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to create something fresh. Sometimes the beats are really useful and good. And then other times they're like kind of crazy, because sometimes I give like restrictions on what type of beats as well. So, but the DJ's got to flip them anyways. And yeah, so it's like this short notice, like just flip the beat however you can. And for the actual judging, like the flip or flop part is that the first sort of pass of judging is like I have a button for like a flip if they stay in the battle that round, or a flop is like you're done for that week. And I give feedback and stuff, though. It's not like completely ruthless. Like I try to like tell people like
You are
why.
Turntablism's Simon Cowell. That's worrying.
Yeah, exactly. I try to be a little nicer than that. So I like
just don't do a twiddle in front of him and you're fine.
Yeah. Well, some people do. They toe the line.
You know, if I ever take part, I'm gonna have this finger removed.
Yeah,
just tape them together for you.
Tape them together, exactly. Yeah, like bonus points. But basically the flop is like if the idea of it definitely comes from like a X Factor, like Idol type of thing, or like Rock Raiders Gong Battle. That's sort of the inspiration for it. And what I think is like why I wanted to kind of incorporate that is because I think sometimes people like don't really get feedback on like when their routine goes south. Like you do a full routine and maybe find out people don't like it, but sometimes it's within the first 10 seconds. So I'm gonna flop someone 10 seconds in their routine if they're like going like really offbeat or something like that, right? So it's like so if sometimes people don't even get to finish the routine, sometimes they get to finish it and they still flop because it just like didn't kind of go anywhere or something like that. But yeah, that's the idea. It sort of started as like just a pandemic thing, like trying to do something to keep people like
that's awesome,
active in like turntablism and everything. But then it kind of picked up and like a lot of people liked it. Pretty much all the champions in the battle, like, so firstly Delightful won the first 3 and then I had to ban him because he was like I made a rule.
Puts people off eventually, doesn't it?
Yeah, I made a rule. There's like an honorary ban for the 3-peat, like, because otherwise, like, he'd probably still be winning to this day. But then it was like, him 3 times, and then
how many did you consecutively win in a row?
Me, only 2. I only won IDA twice.
How many DMCs did you run in a row? Did you win in a row?
They were. No consecutive.
Oh, I thought I had him.
No, I won 3 categories in 1 year, but they weren't like, it was like teams online and 6 months.
So. All right.
So only 2 consecutive in IDA. But so Delightful won 3, then Kevin Adam, who's like he got second in the rest of world category last year from Indonesia. Clint, who's like a Canadian finalist, and then Nago, who got 3rd in IDA World, and then right now Chris Cutts is the current champ, and he's going to US finals this weekend.
Nice.
He just won his conference for the US, so it's like been like good. Like it's been, when I started it is more focused on like I was trying to focus on like beginners and people who are like trying to improve and stuff. But then it's became where it's actually like there's still a lot of beginners in it, and there's a lot of like useful feedback, and there's different levels, but the people who are winning it are like pretty world class. Like it's been a really good level. So that's sort of, it's still going to go on, but right now I'm organizing DMC Canada.
I've seen like, you do the boot camps, don't you?
We've done some boot camps, to basically, because we took over this year completely, is me and T Junior, who's the current Canadian DMC champ, and we took over with no like support or anything really. Like it was we didn't really get it handed off from last year. We just sort of took it over cold and had to build everything up. So we're doing boot camps to like because one of our big things this year was we wanted to do a live final, because we haven't had one in Canada in like 7 years. So we're like, we want a live final, and Canada's so big too that like I personally couldn't feel like good about doing it unless we at least offered some flights and travel. So we wanted to like make sure, like, we basically flying like five to the finals, but there's 13 total like invited. But anyways, we're doing that right now, Canadian DMC. So Flip or Flop is on pause, but I'll probably get another one going like in October-ish or something. Maybe like I usually try and stay out of the way of like DMC because like you know, the people doing flip or flop are like, you know, they should be focusing on DMC and stuff like that when that's happening. But yeah, it's gonna happen again. I'll just keep doing it until, I don't know, people get sick of it, I guess. But
it's awesome, man. Honestly, it's awesome. Like, it's amazing when someone like you contribute so much creatively, and then to go and like you become like an almost elder in the community, run these things. Do you know what I mean? Though, like, it's amazing because you bring new people through, you bring in fresh people through the ranks, keeping an art form going.
For sure.
One of the things for us, you know, in the UK, I mean, it's pretty quiet in the UK on the turntablism front. There's plenty of them. But lots of them have kind of given up with battling. They can't be bothered anymore, or they've done their time on it, which is absolutely fine, of course. But, you know, we struggle for like young, fresh people coming through the game. I mean, Static's 32 and he's probably the youngest competitor we've had in years and years and years. You know, so it's kind of like, it's good to see, you know, it's good to see. And like, I watched the posts from you, from Jay, you know, T Junior. I see all of that and I'm like, oh, it's good to see that it's like alive over there. I mean, is it alive in the clubs? Do you find that there's turntablism going on? Like,
in the clubs, I can't say that I've been clubbing too much recently, so I don't know. Like I was just at Bassett's Barbecue last weekend, so you know, that's like a 2-day event with thousands and thousands of people, with basically all turntablists in different, like not pure turntablists, but you know, hip hop DJs who scratch and turntablists. So there's that. I'd say like, well, Canada's a different kind of beast with just the size versus population. We're so spread out, and it's not that, I don't know, like how many people, what's the population of the UK?
70 million.
Yeah, so you guys are over twice our size, I think, or probably twice our size, and we're like, you know, it's I think the flight for me to the UK is almost the same time and price as to go to Vancouver. Like,
you're kidding me. Is it actually that much bigger?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, well, I think it's a 5-hour flight west, and then it's maybe 6 or 6.5 to go to UK.
That's about right.
So it's like,
when you put that into perspective, it's actually quite crazy, man. We whinge about like driving for an hour.
I know.
Honestly, we complain about driving for an hour.
I remember talking to people from Europe about like DMC teams and stuff, and I remember one time I was like, oh yeah, I drove to Brace's house. He's like only like 8 hours from me. And they're like,
that's like a week.
Yeah, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, like, like, and honestly, it's like maybe, you know, there's like Montreal for me was like a couple major cities over. That's like, it's still like, you know, you can do it in a day, so that's fine. So.
Literally, what is it? Like, I get annoyed if I'm traveling for 2 hours. It's like, you come up to Liverpool, it's like, absolutely not. 2 hours, no chance.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a different like dynamic, but yeah, in Canada, because we're so spread out, it's so disconnected. So I'd say like right now, another thing aside from DMC and everything, a couple of weeks ago, myself, Dopey and JTech, like Turntable Monks, and T Junior did another event called Toronto Turntablist Community, and we did like a little scratch battle, and that's something that we're trying to do like more regularly, like DMC's this month, so that's taking all our time, but then the next month we're going to try and do that and build stuff, because like there's still people out there. Like even our first event on like less than 2 weeks promotion had like 50 some people come out and that, and so there is people out there. But yeah, like in Canada, it's so spread out that the Canadian community isn't really a thing. Like you know, we don't see the guys from the West Coast like even every year or every 2 years, or you know, can be multiple years. Sometimes like I am more likely to see them at like NAMM or something than in Canada.
So for you, for gigs and stuff, like, you know, DJ career wise, right? Like you're maintaining that through an online connection largely. or is it through agents, or is it through like how does that work? Because if there's not a massive community for it, there's not a lot of kind of club stuff going on, and you're still over at Bastards, and you're still, you know.
In that sense, okay. So for like myself personally, for touring and stuff, so it's been like a crazy journey of like how to do shows and stuff as a turntablist. It's like it doesn't really have the built-in sort of ecosystem that like electronic music has and that kind of thing. But so I have had agents and managers, but currently I do it all myself. And up until the pandemic, I wasn't doing any like teaching or any online stuff. It was all like shows and gigs and touring. But then obviously I had to kind of pivot. So I started teaching during the pandemic, and I still do that. But even last year, I had about like a start to finish around a 40 show tour that started I did like Eastern Canada, like Ottawa, and had some shows in Toronto, and then went to like Baltimore and Philadelphia. And then I went to the other side, like California, New Orleans, like Southwestern states. And then I went to the West Coast, like Vancouver, like basically like almost the four corners of North America, doing like different shows and stuff. And it's for me, it's basically just like making contacts and putting yourself out there, and like just just building a list of people who are interested in booking. Like I guess the bottom line with any DJing or turntablism is you sort of have to gain interest like by making art or content or routines or whatever. You have to put yourself out there, and inevitably, like if you're making stuff that people like, they're going to hit you up. And I'm pretty lucky because I have titles, like world titles. I also have some pretty viral videos, so I have these sort of things that kind of naturally pull in people who want to book me at somewhat regularly. But then it's like, as a turntablist, the hard thing for touring and playing shows is that I think there's lots of cities in, especially North America and probably the world, there's lots of cities like dozens or hundreds that will book you once a year, but there's very few that will book you like once a month or even twice a year. Like so if you want to play shows as a turntablist, you got to hit the road, and and then the other challenge is that agents don't understand what we do or like how to market us or anything. So I was sort of mentored by a producer in Canada, Fresh Kills. Like he took me on my first tour. He showed me, we booked it ourselves, but he mostly did it and showed me like how to like build a list of contacts, how to route your tour, how to even like negotiate prices based on how much like your expenses are going to be and how big the city is and the market and everything. Like you basically like, it's a good skill if you can learn how to just be your own agent if you need to. Because I have had agents, but at the end of the day, no one cares about your art and your career like you do.
No one can sell what you do like you can.
And it's another thing where you just have to get into the mode of doing it. Like if you just sort of like, anybody who hits you up for a show, if you can't do it, like if they don't have enough budget or they're too far away, don't just be like, oh, I can't do it, and then like forget about them forever. Like add it to a spreadsheet, be like, this city, this much money, like, potential person, where they contacted you, Facebook, whatever. And then you keep doing that and you make this list, and then eventually you're going to see like, oh, I can go, like I've got like these 5 people all in this area, like driving range or something, so I can fly out there, and like if I get all these shows, like if I get Friday, Saturday this week, Friday, Saturday next week, I can make it all happen. I can hit up this scratch crew and bring, like I have like records and t-shirts and stuff and hats. I'll like bring my merch, and like even though it's not a show, you can still sell $500 of merch or something, like you have to be a little bit more savvy and like business minded, I think, to make it work. And it's not for everyone. Like I've told people this, and it is like like I wish it'd be cool if some point there was something that was more streamlined and more like reliable to do this than just like hustling. But yes, like some people just get, like most of us are artists, we don't want to be business people, but you have to sort of decide, like, do you want to be an artist and just and not necessarily monetize that, and then just like work a regular job and keep it like your hobby and your art? That's totally fine. Or if you want to monetize it, you have to take a different like thought, you have to wear some different hats and stuff, and you have to yeah, you have to hustle still. It's not, there's no golden ticket. Like even titles and stuff, like you know, a world title, definitely I wouldn't be touring and stuff if I didn't win world titles. But it's not like you win that and then you like get gifted this amazing tour or anything. Like you get gifted the opportunity to work harder to make it happen.
This is why we find these conversations fascinating, by the way. Like one of the things that's been really interesting about the podcast is like we're spending time talking to people who are like unbelievably elite, top, you know, 0.00 point whatever percent in the world at something that doesn't reward them
at all.
in you know, in kind of very classical ways. It doesn't normally lead to loads of money. It doesn't normally lead to loads of adulation, you know, or the adulation's there, but it's like a small community of people who are like, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
So you know, they're often middle-aged men.
What?
They're often middle-aged men.
True, for sure, yeah.
Or twiddlers, watch out for them.
Yeah.
I've got one last question for you. I'm conscious we're kind of running at time, but just like as someone who, you know, has won a ton of titles, is obviously a like core ambassador of the art form globally, right? If you were to say to someone who's new, like to this world, you know, this routine or these 2 or 3 routines, like videos, go and search them out and watch them, who would you recommend?
Oh man, that's such a tough thing to boil down.
You're allowed to say you as well, Vekked.
You are allowed to say your own as well. Yeah.
Every Vector.
Yeah. Oh, he's been cut off.
See, look, Pioneer's that good, it censors. See, what a great piece of equipment. It's censoring what he was about to say that would have been rude or egotistical, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the Pioneer was like, good enough answer, done.
It edits videos as well.
So
any Vekked, yep, we get that.
Yeah. So okay, the hard part for me is that like I sort of kind of distinguish like who I would recommend for like beat juggling, or who I would recommend for scratch routines and for other stuff. Like there's so many different people, it's always hard for me to like boil down.
Let's go beat juggling.
Beat juggling, for sure. DJ Precision, 2002 I would start with, and then also 2007. Like Precision, I think is to me is like low key the best beat juggler. Like I think that, I don't know, some people maybe don't put him at as high a level as he deserves for beat juggling. But if you go back, like he battled for a long time, and he had just so many classic beat juggles, and they're, like I was saying earlier about you know, great routines are ones where you can't really like pinpoint where they came from. Like they're just sort of like so creative and innovative that I think Precision, P-Tricks for sure as well, for beat juggling. Let me see, Kentaro 2002. That's sort of a no-brainer. Yeah, P-Tricks 99, but his DMC and ITF would be the ones. Another juggle that I think is maybe one of the best juggles of all time that is not everyone knows about is DJ Treble's Prefuse 73 juggle from 2002. He did it in a bunch of battles, but he won like the ITF beat juggle category and Allies All-Star Beatdown, and he beat Precision in the beatdown that year when they both had like some of the best juggles ever. So that's amazing. A-Track, of course, A-Track, Get Your Freak On, and like his 2001 stuff. So that's for like jugglers. For scratchers, my first and one of my biggest inspirations still Tiger Style. 2003, like when he won 3 world titles, he went on a tear. So watch all of that. Nedic, I think was one of the best scratchers in battling. And like he's someone who I think, in my opinion, can hang with anybody even outside of battling. Like a lot of the best scratchers are not battle DJs. They're like, Pickles and D-Sal's crew and everything. But so Nedic, Rafik, of course, his 2004 ITF stuff is some of my favorite of his, because he got to use the Vekked turntables, which he did some pretty creative stuff with. DJ Clever,
Clever's wicked.
since 2001. I think Clever for me was sort of an innovator in just like the double time style of scratching, where before that people were doing like the funky hip hop stuff a lot of time, and he went with the more like slow beat, like double time, or he was even doing it on faster beats. He wasn't even going slow. And last one for scratching, I Emerge, I think, is another person who, because he just sort of like left the scene completely after he won 2004 and 2005 DMC World titles, and then he just kind of left. So I find nowadays a lot of like students and people I'm teaching have never heard of him. They don't know, and I'm like, man, he was so influential at the time for just being like a super hardcore scratcher in battles, and just like bringing like super high level scratching into battling. So yeah, there's my scratch and beat juggle routine.
Love it. That was brilliant.
Mate, that was absolutely amazing. Listen, man, thank you so much for spending time with us. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
It's a bit of a sort of dream come true for me, I'll be totally honest. So thank you.
Well, yeah, when I told Dan you said yeah, he went, what?
Oh man, yeah, no, of course.
I was like, you sure you haven't spelt it wrong and you've accidentally got us like some sort of
I've accidentally invited Vicky to be on the podcast.
Get some
Canadian
bootleg
amazing
guy.
DJ.
Yeah.
Sega routine. That guy. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No, thank you guys for having me. Like I said, I was I saw some clips and stuff, and I was aware of it before you guys even asked. So
do you know what, that blows our mind too, man? Because like me and Ollie, we just like two passionate dudes about cutting up, set up a jam, and then we were like, oh, how else can we kind of do this? Let's do a podcast. And then the podcast is like, like people know about it. Like that blows our mind. For us, this is like fun. It's about kind of learning, like especially for me, I'm learning so much from these things. Yeah. So like it's so nice to know that someone who we massively respect has even come across it is like blows my mind. So
yeah. Well, yeah, we're all just like fans of the art form, passionate about it. Anyways, at the end of the day, right? It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it's regardless of like any battles and titles and all that stuff. It's just like I'm interested in seeing and hearing turntablist content, and produce it myself. And
some of the stories we've heard as well have been amazing. I'd recommend checking out Buck Wild. That like he never won a title or anything. He always came up against Mr. Switch and got his ass handed to him.
That's rough. Yeah, man. There's got to be a lot of those examples of like people who were really good, but just in an era where there's somebody
who just really unlucky.
But his stories are amazing. He got picked up by Fatboy Slim. You'll like this as a big beat guy originally, right? Fatboy Slim, I won't ruin it too much, but Fatboy Slim ended up saying to him, pick a venue in Brighton, and I'll be your support act.
That's crazy. That's
fast forward, he's on like all the kind of big TV shows.
Did Letterman, didn't he?
He did Letterman. He did Jonathan Ross. He did all these. Right? Yeah. So have a listen to his, because that is a totally different turntablism story. So
for sure. Yeah, it's always cool like hearing other people's journeys in like turntablism beyond like in sort of the career aspect of it, because like I was saying, it's like there's no like path or no like sort of built-in like ecosystem for us. So everybody's completely different. Like if you know, I've talked to people like like Kid Koala and A-Track and stuff, and like all these guys who like everyone does a completely different path, and they're just like doing, you know, there's so much that is just like chance or that happens, but
and
cool
just
to
take
see
the
what
opportunity and build it and they come stuff as well, like that. That comes out quite a lot. It's like I just put stuff out there and I just keep doing it, and I'm consistent with it, and then somebody knocks me on the shoulder and says, oh, come and do this or come and do that, and so I did it. And and you get a lot of that story, which is just it's magic.
Absolutely.
Wonder of life.
Yeah, big ups to you guys for doing like the scratch jam out there and everything too. Hopefully I can get out there one day.
Well, mate, we would absolutely be blown away if we could.
We're running
get you down there.
We're running. We've just got some national lottery funding to run a battle in December called Unstoppable.
I've seen it. I've seen the. Wait, what's the name of it again?
Unstoppable.
Yeah. I saw that. That's super cool. We need more of that. Like that's why we did the TTC battle a couple of weeks ago, because I think it's just about having stuff happening, and it's good to have like, it doesn't all need to be like DMC, as long like love DMC and I'm running it and stuff, but there needs to be other stuff too, and things that are like either smaller or just different, just different angles of it. It just needs to be stuff happening to
precisely, man. That's exactly it. And that's why, the National Lottery and the Arts Council in England have agreed to sponsor us for it. There's a community, it's an underground community, it's often a neurodiverse community, and this is an opportunity to make it bigger, to make it celebrated, to give these people more opportunity, better paid for gigs, and also, have a bloody
and
good
we've
time
got
doing
probably
it.
one of the most creative human beings running the idea. But we're doing it with, it was DJ XL, Hugh Wackman's idea.
I knew that
that guy's just a stream of madness.
I know. I saw him. I was at the San Francisco World Finals.
He told us about those.
Yeah. He was so ill then as well, by the way, mate. He was so unbelievably unwell. He just about managed to do his set, and then he was like,
brutal.
Savage, mate.
Yeah, man.
Listen,
that's amazing. Off the podcast, we should talk about the grant stuff. We have a good grants funding system in Canada as well for arts, but right now it's like on hiatus this summer because they're creating a new platform for it. But it's something, as soon as it comes back, I've been thinking how we can do our battle stuff and incorporate grants funding into it, because we're getting to this point in just music history where I think the traditional platforms and stuff for music are accepting hip hop and things, and getting grants funding for hip hop events is possible, whereas maybe 10 or 20 years ago it was that's we only fund classical stuff or something,
Well, there's obviously anytime, dude, I'm happy to share what our experience of going through that process is. Obviously it's going to be slightly different, but there'll be some things that are similar. We do have a couple of other connections who might also be able to help. So there was a guy called Mr. Ed who has
Mr. Ed from New Zealand now, right?
So he comes to our Scratch Cafe when he's in the UK.
Dude, oh man, I talked to him he's a scratch, he's an online Scratch legend kind of.
He's ridiculously good, isn't he?
He's a dude, man. He's an absolute dude.
He used to post Scratch files, audio files, and his Return the DJ stuff, and his chirps and everything are unreal. But we talked about he's also a Mega Drive game collector, so we chat occasionally about games we picked up and stuff.
There you go.
Well, he's your guy basically.
So he does. He said something like 19 million he's raised over the years from stuff like that. He's serious about that stuff.
Oh, that's his thing. Oh, crazy.
That's what he does. That's what he does for a living. So obviously,
I had no idea.
You just talk to him about Mega Drives,
But you can have a conversation with him about it, and he'll give you some advice and stuff as well, man. So if you're looking around for that sort of stuff, we'll help how we can. But he's also a good guy to tap up.
Yeah, for sure. It's good just like hearing from anybody who's got experience with it, because it's kind of, we all help each other, and it's like, building just the kind of global turntablism and stuff.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it, man. It all
That's
helps.
all it is. That's all we care about. We're just trying to talk to as many people that like scratching and beat juggling as we can, and just basically just create bridges over the big rivers and
exactly
expanses of like nothingness.
Yeah,
just whack twiddling.
Mate, I'm going to look that back. What was it? Yeah, twiddlers get thrown to the zombies. That is a t-shirt, dude. We're going to make some money on that. Vekked.
Yeah, that's nice.
We're going to make some serious cash on that. You'll be making $1,000 of merch.
Nice.
Right. Anyway,
stick with him, kid. I'll make you a millionaire.
Dude, thank you so much.
Absolutely amazing, mate.
I will be in touch shortly. I'm going to end the recording now, man. But you're a legend, and thank you for being part of this.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's super fun.